cost and the risk of innovation in our industry is fairly shared across wealthy countries.
And joining me now with more on all of this is North Carolina Congressman Greg Murphy. He co-chairs the GOP Doctors Caucus and is a doctor himself. Congressman, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. So what President Trump is trying to do here is just take out the middleman of the cost so that prices are lower for American citizens. Is that right?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And, you know, since the ACA, Maria, we've seen an explosion in the vertical integration in medicine where insurance companies own these things called pharmacy benefit managers, which basically extort money from pharmaceutical companies to keep for their own selves, which actually jack the cost back up to, or the money back up to the insurance company. And then they've gone down even to own pharmacies. What we're doing, and this is just brilliant, really, is it's shaking the middleman out, which is really the true sucking sound of what's happening with American healthcare, and just doing it direct to consumer. We're going to save hundreds of billions of dollars in doing it this way, and it's really a tremendous thing, and it's going to lower the cost for Americans. It's going to lower costs for states as far as their Medicaid goes. I think it really is just the beginning of the end of the middleman, which is destroying American medicine.
Well, I mean, why is it so expensive? I mean, I know sometimes I'll go to the drugstore for my mom to pick up her medicines, and, you know, 1 month it's one price, 2 months later it's another price, 3 months later it's another price, and it's incredibly expensive. And I'm thinking, why is this constantly changing in price? Who's doing that? Is that the pharmacy, or is that the doctor, or what?
It's the formularies run by the insurance companies, run by the pharmacy benefit managers that may, if they can get a good rebate from a pharmaceutical company. Remember, the higher the drug cost from the pharmacy, the more the pharmacy benefit manager, those parts of the insurance companies make. So they have no incentive whatsoever to keep a lower cost. And so they manipulate the formulary, what's allowed for patients if they have this particular insurance, according to whatever they can charge the highest. So again, pulling this out is going to be important. I do think one thing is important. For any given pharmaceutical to bring from molecule to market takes up to $1 to $2 billion in studies, and most of the ones that are started never make it to market. So there's a lot of money that has to be spent for a lot of them that don't ever make it to market. But then again, pulling out this insurance nonsense, this rebate nonsense, this spread pricing that pharmacy benefit managers, again owned by insurance companies for their profit, is tremendous. Here's one caveat, though. You know, when we do the TrumpRx and patients pay directly to pharmaceutical companies, I've put in legislation, or am putting in legislation, to make sure that that money goes towards a patient's deductible. Insurance companies are not going to like that, but just because it's coming out of a patient's pocket as for their insurance, it should go towards their deductible too.
That's a good point. So the president is trying all he can to lower the cost for Americans, and yet the Democrats want more. They want these Obamacare subsidies back in place. The Senate failed to advance the GOP funding bill again yesterday for the 8th time. The government shutdown is now in day 15, 3 weeks, with fewer government employees at America's national parks. Squatters and illicit base jumpers are reportedly taking over parts of Yosemite. The Interior Department says it's investigating this as the Coalition to Protect America's National Parks is calling for the closure of all national parks until staffing is restored. You've got the Office of Management and Budget preparing more federal layoffs, Congressman, and we know that the layoffs have begun. President Trump told us that on Friday. What do you want to say about this government shutdown and its impact?
Well, first of all, it doesn't need to happen. We know that Schumer, Pelosi, even Obama have said you don't put policy in a CR. But sadly enough, they're hypocrites. They're going literally against everything they've ever said to shut down the government. If you look at what this is costing America, look at all the things that you just spoke about. And here the Democrats are holding the country ransom from $1.5 trillion in spending, some of which is to continue these ACA temporary COVID subsidies, which are basically, again, a shell game from sending checks directly from the federal government to insurance companies. Look, we can have that discussion. They're not due till the end of the year, and fully put reform in there. But sadly enough, you know, Schumer's afraid. He's running from his left. He's running from a bartender in New York, and they're holding the government hostage and the American people hostage because of it.
I want to ask you more about that, but we want to break into earnings news. Morgan Stanley is hitting the table. Let's get to Cheryl with the numbers. Cheryl.
Very strong quarter for Morgan Stanley, and it was about the wealth management business and, of course, about investment banking. It is a double beat, $2.80 a share on earnings per share, $18.22 billion on revenue. Institutional fixed income, that revenue, $2.17 billion. Get this, in total, their global M&A income, deal making, $3 trillion right now. And also, they're talking about President Trump and talking about lighter regulations under the Trump administration that has spurred businesses to do deals, tap into capital markets. And they're also saying that the U.S. economy right now is, quote, resilient. But again, a strong deal-making quarter. And, of course, wealth management as well, very strong at Morgan Stanley.
Well, I got to tell you, Morgan Stanley did such a great job by going all in on wealth management when it did. I know UBS did, and Morgan Stanley were among the early ones, recognizing that it was the wealth management business that was going to be the real growth story. And that was Mr. Gorman. Now Ted Pick is in charge, and he's continuing that focus on wealth management, Cheryl.
Yeah, the numbers are very strong out of that division, again, with that $2.17 billion. That net revenue in total, $8.23 billion. $8.23 billion. They've done it.
Yeah, big number, and the stock is up better than 2%. Congressman, want to get back to what your thoughts are on this broader macro story, because at some point, this government shutdown affects the economy. Right now, we're in earnings period, and we're seeing very strong performances from the third quarter, but we're in the fourth quarter now. So next quarter, I suspect CEOs are going to be talking about the impact of this government shutdown.
Sure. If contractors are not being paid out in the private sector, federal government employees are not being paid, so they don't have disposable income to spend. There's some measures made by some of the other institutions here in D.C. to help out some of the federal government employees, but it's a no-win for anybody. Literally, we just asked the government to be funded on a Wednesday, just like it was on a Tuesday, again being hijacked by the progressive left. There's nothing good. Even Obama said this in 2013. There's nothing good when you put policy in a CR, and that's what the Democrats are being so hypocritical about today.
Well, you mean, it's about politics. I mean, I feel like, the fact that they're waiting for this no king's rally to make a move, to me, screams just politics and holding on to their grip on power. Congressman, Vice President J.D. Vance revealed that the subsidies offered under Obamacare fuel waste and fraud in the insurance industry. Yeah. You say the program is filled with billions of dollars for subsidies for people who actually don't need them.
Yeah, absolutely true. And, if you look at one report, it's anywhere from 6 million up to 20 million individuals who don't even know they're enrolled in this. And you had unscrupulous insurance agents enrolling people who, by the way, during the entire program, never used it, never filed a medical claim. Well, that'd be wonderful if all those people were healthy, but the likelihood is that they're not. So these checks are going directly from the federal government to the insurance company. Nothing else. And so, again, there's a massive amount of fraud. And if we go in and deal with these things, hell and high water is going to come to those companies and those individuals who've been selling these scam policies.
Wow. Congressman, we'll be watching that. Thanks so much for being here this morning.
Great. Thank you.
All right. Greg Murphy on Capitol Hill. Stay with us. We'll be right back.